Boeing burned a lot of cash in the first half, about $9 billion when we look at the free cash flow line. They can't afford to keep doing that, right? The company is a little bit over $10 billion of cash in the balance sheet. We think they need about 9-ish to operate the company. Everything is really predicated on a lot of deliveries in the back half. Inventory is built to over $80 billion at this company. It's about twice what Airbus's inventory is. So they've been bringing in products and components from suppliers, trying to keep their suppliers going, right? Because they need to keep them healthy as they fix their production problems. They're really hoping to deliver a lot of airplanes in the back half and start to unwind that inventory and build some cash. And so without workers, can't get that done, right? And so that's why this is super important to Boeing's back half recovery.
Now, from what I understand, it's 25% pay increases, right? But didn't they want 40%? So are union workers actually going to vote for this?
Yeah, so the union came in at 40% as their starting point. I mean, 25% I think is the increase that's on the table without, Boeing had some mumbo jumbo in there about, I think some structural components of worker pay that would have turned it into 33%. They also get a $3,000 bonus to sign. And so it's not just 25%, but I mean, 25% seems near where we've seen at, other wage agreements, 25 to 30% near where we've seen other wage agreements in the economy. I feel like maybe sort of labor's strength is diminishing a bit. Boeing for sure needs the agreement, so they're probably the weaker position here. But it does seem like labor costs starting to come down, and some of labor's strength has been ebbing a little bit in the U.S. economy.
And what I also saw, which this I thought was very important as well, is that Boeing agreed that to build its next plane in this Seattle area.
Puget Sound.
Yeah, why is that important?
Well, I mean, so that is, the long-term health of this union, right? If you're the machinist, you want to have workers on the flagship programs. And so if Boeing decides to announce a new airplane in the term of this contract only, that's what the agreement is, right? It's for the 4 years of this contract that they decide they need a new airplane. They've agreed to build it in the Puget Sound, which keeps machinists working on it. I frankly think there's probably a pretty strong potential they do that. I think they need a replacement for the 737 to make it more competitive. I think their engineers need to flex their engineering muscles, if you will, to really, dig deep into a program like that. I think Boeing needs to show, I guess just their earnestness inside this industry to create world-leading products. So I think there's a high probability that they get that, and there's nothing to say the machinist can't come back for a similar clause in whatever follow-up contract comes as well.
So is Wednesday no longer a risk event?
No. The rank and file have to approve this agreement, and it's not unprecedented that a rank and file can go against the recommendations of their leadership, but their leadership have, essentially agreed to this deal with Boeing management, and now they present it to the workers and ask them to vote on it and ask them to approve it.
George, what's the latest on, manufacturing, getting those orders out the door? Where are we today? Where would they like to get to in terms of deliveries?
Yeah, so I mean, that's a big question, is where are we today? I don't know that we've seen a stabilized build rate out of Boeing that we could say we're at. What I hear is suppliers are building in the 30s range. And so where do we want to go? Boeing wants to go, or where do they want to go? They want to go to 38 by year end. Again, I think a walkout would really a strike would really put a huge dent in the plans to get to 38. Around 38, the cash performance of this company will be a lot better. The profitability performance of this company will be a lot better. So that's where they want to go to. Again, a lot riding on this agreement.
So do you think that Boeing has a good case, though, in terms of the stock for sort of marching its way higher here? Like, is all the bad news done? I hate asking that question.
I mean, look, I don't think there's still challenges in this business, right? I think if they were to get this agreement, at least we have workers on the line actively working to deliver airplanes to customers. if the rank and file is generally happy with the agreement, I think that that's definitely a positive on the manufacturing floor. But look, we saw Airbus, they delivered 36 A320s in August. It was okay. That was it's a summer month. Everyone in France is trying to take a vacation. It's less than the year prior. We were kind of expecting Airbus to be moving to higher rates now. They've told us they're having problems with suppliers. We know the engines are a problem. So I would say, look, getting the agreement, fixes a big obstacle because, again, can't deliver anything without workers. But the supply chain still has its challenges. And so it's not a given that if they get this agreement that they'll be at 38 at the end of the year and cash flow will flow. But it will be certainly better than if they've gone through a strike.